Fellas, the Senegalese president is in France. Yes, to have a discussion with Emmanuel Macron with the goal of normalizing relationship. Like, let's find a balance. Is this something good or not? After all the bad things that France has done to the African country and all other African countries, this is absolutely absurd. My question is this one. Is this being stupid, turning a blind eye to a person who's done you wrong in the past because chances are he's not going to change? Or is this being clever perhaps? You know, you need to give everybody a chance. We're going to find out about that just now. What's happening, everybody? I hope you're doing good. It's a beautiful day. Thank you very much for stopping by. You are appreciated. This is home. My name is Zack. Your first time. Thank you. Thank you for coming. We like you here. We want you to stay. Before we start, can I ask you all to do this? Let's all do this, please. It costs you nothing. We feel appreciated. Great stuff. This man here from Senegal. Here's the map. Beautiful place, lovely people. The Senegalese president is a brand new president. Went to France to have a discussion with Emmanuel Macron in terms of normalizing relationships between France and Senegal. Now, this comes after Senegal kicked out French soldiers lately. The last troops of France that's been staying there have left. Now, you should be asking yourself, is this a way to play with Senegalese people? After lying to them that he was kicking out France forces from the country, and then later on changing his rhetoric, or is this a smart way to run relationship? My question to you is very clear. If somebody has done you wrong in the past, do you give them another chance? Can you trust somebody who clearly has been your enemy in the past in order to work and progress together? Or should you just stick to the people that look like you? Now, my other question will be this one. Do you think Africans cannot do you wrong? And just because it's white people, then you should be worried. Senegalese President Bassirou Diomaye Faye arrived in the Élysée Palace in Paris on Wednesday, where he was welcomed by the French President Emmanuel Macron. Then again, this happens a week after France closed its last military base in Senegal. Yes, France had been in Senegal for about 400 years, and they've had military stations into these countries. You can see on the map here, all the French colonized countries. Yes, France has had soldiers staying there permanently, even after independence. Now, this is the president of Senegal, Bassirou Diomaye Faye. And this one here is Ousmane Sonko. Ousmane Sonko is the prime minister. They're young, they're in the 40s. Their rhetoric was very clear. No more France troops in our country. I mean, which is that country that you have troops from another country driving in the street with tanks and stuff? I mean, this is somebody else's country. Why are you driving with tanks? Oh, supposedly because we want to keep the country safe. Safe why? Why can't the country keep itself safe?
As a French person, can you imagine seeing us in your country with tanks or military vehicles, Senegalese soldiers in Senegalese uniforms, just like that, simply because historically France enslaved, colonized, and remained there?
This president felt like, okay, this is too much, okay? You've been here for too long. It's about time. Let's respect each other, okay? I mean, come on. You need to go back home. They left. France was very angry. They left. Matter of fact, Emmanuel Macron, he said Africans are ingrate, or Africans are ungrateful, you know, for the help they provide to Africans.
We had a secure relationship. In truth, it was of two kinds. One part was our commitment to fighting terrorism since 2013. We were right. I think some have forgotten to say thank you, but that's okay. It'll come in time. I'm in a good position to know that ingratitude is a disease that cannot be transmitted to humans. But I say this for all the African governments who have not had the courage, in the eyes of their public opinion, to bear it. None of them would be in a sovereign country today if the French army had not been deployed in this region.
It's like, I've been helping you fight terrorism and eat French food and learn how to speak French. So you should be grateful forever. Okay? Don't ever question my presence in your house. Well, the Senegalese authorities say no. It's about time you leave. Now, after they left and people clap their hands, my question is, why do you go back to them and have a discussion? What are you looking for? And I know a lot of people will say, why don't you turn to Russia and China? Because they clearly are not coming with colonization mentality like French people did in Africa. Why don't you just stick to Russia, China, and Turkey? Dakar and Paris both insist, however, that this does not mean it's the end of the security ties between the two countries. That's a very good question, and I want you to tell me, why can't they just turn to Russia, Turkey, and China? Well, Faye, president of Senegal, wants something before they proceed. Faye wants France to apologize for the atrocity done by France to Senegal. France must apologize for what they did in 1944.
Today, I received a letter from President Macron in which he acknowledges that it was indeed a massacre. This crucial step of formally recognizing that it was indeed a massacre should unequivocally open the door to perfect and complete collaboration in fully uncovering the entire truth of the matter.
1944, Senegalese soldiers went to France to fight for France. They were fighting against the Germans. Remember? Second World War. Germany took a big chunk of France. Senegalese soldiers, they called the tirailleurs sénégalais, were taken to France to fight next to the French soldiers because French clearly were struggling. I mean, they don't like hearing you say that they were struggling, because if they were not struggling, would they have needed the help of the Senegalese? Absolutely not. Now, what happened was the Senegalese fought against Hitler for France toward Paris. They beat the Germans. They took many of the land. In some instances, you saw Senegalese soldiers barefoot during winter in France. And some people say that the Senegalese refused to wear shoes at war. And some people say, no, the French refused to give them shoes. Now, my question is, do you think the Senegalese refused to wear shoes because they're tough, or French people refused to give them shoes because they believed there wasn't enough shoes for everybody? Anyway, Senegalese fought and destroyed the Germans. They entered Paris. Now, before they entered Paris, this general here, General de Gaulle, came and said, you know, we cannot let these black people be in front as we're entering Paris. You need to whitenize the army. So you need to bring French-looking, white-looking soldiers to be in front as they march into Paris, so that all the young boys, all the young French boys can see the white French soldiers in front and clap them hands and have, ambition for the future. You need to give glory to France, not to these savages. Anyway, now these Senegalese people fought for France. They were promised many things. They were promised passport, nationality. They were promised money, insurance. They were promised houses. Unfortunately, after the war, did they give them houses? No, they got no house. And for the one that's tried to claim those houses and those opportunities and insurances, they took them to some land and they shot them dead. Yeah. Now, Senegal said you need, number one, to apologize for that. Number two, you need to release the archives surrounding the incident and the recognition of the scale of the killing. So number one, you say we're sorry. Number two, you need to release the archives, but because you've got them, you need to make it public so the world can see what you did. So this relationship, as much as I know many people are like, if somebody crosses me one time, I'm not going to deal with him anymore. I'm done with you forever. Well, the rules of power, 48 laws of power say you should trust more your ex-enemy than your own friend, because your own friend can turn on you. You have friends that turn on you, right? Yes, because you don't see it coming. They switch on you and you're shocked. But your ex-enemy feels like you need to prove something. I'll give you a simple example. Somebody that works for you who's never really wronged you in any way, compared with somebody that worked for you in the past and stole from your stock, but you forgave them. Who is more likely going to be more loyal to you? Trust me, it's the second person. Why? Because he's wronged you in the past. And because he realized that wronging you was wrong, he's going to try everything to prove you that you can trust him. Okay. Now, in this context, is Senegal seeing France as actually a partner that he can use in that term? Because they've done them wrong in the past. Maybe it's an opportunity for them to do much better. Because remember, Senegal and France still have relationship in terms of commerce. Both governments have highlighted common goals in sustainable development, education, healthcare. So France has invested into development, education, and healthcare. Well, Senegal doesn't have other partners. Yes, Senegal is Turkey. Turkey is financing and promoting many things in Senegal. Senegal is Russia. Russia is present. Senegal is China. China is working. So Senegal perhaps doesn't necessarily want to turn away completely from France. It just wants to diversify the friendship.
Emmanuel Macron, we have mutually agreed to give significant new momentum to the ongoing cooperation and partnership between our two respective countries. Without this ambition, we will not be able to achieve anything together. And this ambition can only be realized with the private sector.
Now, should you have all your eggs in one basket? Maybe not, because if the basket falls on the ground, then you lose everything. Now, should we all be angry? Because a lot of Pan-Africanists are very angry at the Senegalese president. He's a sellout. What? Why does he go to France again? Or is that being smart to the next level? It's like saying Vladimir Putin shouldn't speak to Donald Trump or anybody else because they have war in Russia and because Russia has been sanctioned many, many times by all these other countries. Now, just because Russia was sanctioned and all that stuff economically by all these countries, should Russia stop talking to these countries? No. Because it's politics. In politics, you need to be smart. You need to outsmart your opponent. You don't want to close yourself down. Surely they've done you wrong in the past. What makes you think your brand new partners will not do you wrong in the future? Question mark. Let me know how you feel about this. Is it a good thing that Senegal has opened the door by diversifying its friendship, including Russia, Turkey, and France, even though France has done many wrong things in the past? Remember, President of France said that Africans make too many babies. This is the President of France saying that Africans make too many babies, and that's the reason why Africa is not developing.
Today are women. That's the deep roots of the gender inequalities. One of the critical issues we have regarding the African demography is the fact that this is not a chosen fertility. I always say, please present me the lady who decided, being perfectly educated, to have 7, 8, 9 children. And this is not teaching African people from New York. This is a pure bullshit to say that. A lot of African leaders today now dare to have this kind of speech. This is just because a lot of girls were not properly educated. That's why for me education is the main answer. First, to avoid the worst. Second, to maximize opportunities in African countries and in the rest of the world. Third, to properly monitor demography.
It has nothing to do with money. You may give the Africans as much money as possible, but because they make too many babies, that's why they can't develop. Dude, I'm making 11 babies. What do you mean? What you mean? What you mean, brother? Let me know how you feel about this. God bless.